All right, good morning, traders. TG Watkins here. Let's see, it is November 29th when I'm recording this. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And remember, we are still running, we've pushed out a little bit our Black Friday sale, basically Black November, as I've seen other people doing as far as their sale goes. So you got a little over 1 day left from our extension. It's going to be BFS 23. If you guys are interested, come over to simplytrading.com/flash sale. All right, so let's dig into a few things. I was looking at the dollar today. We know that this thing has been pulling back for a while. And if we look here, I think part of the reason I was looking at this is that on the hourly chart, or sorry, the weekly chart, we have what I call an inverse trampoline move. So that is price over the 50, but the Moxie indicator below 0. So this right here, price over the 50 with the Moxie indicator below 0, is basically a false long. Price shouldn't be over the 50 if the indicator is below 0. And I was looking for this to at least pull back, and now we're kind of at the point where this is either going to go bullish because this pullback has now come into possible support, and then we go up, or if it's going to be bearish, then it just kind of keeps breaking down from there. So that's the thing that we're going to have to keep watching. That has helped the markets move up. And then the other thing we can see as far as what's helping the markets move up is the TNX. And I've been talking about this one for weeks and pretty much got it. So that was right there, right there, right there, and right there, where they all pulled back. And you see anytime price got a little too extended on the monthly chart too, you could see that, and then it pulled back. And so that's what's been helping the market move up. I think more specifically, if we kind of come down here, let me show you actually back on the weekly right here. Two things. You can see there's a level kind of right here where I drew a line of previous areas, and we're starting to kind of impinge upon that. The other thing is I was noticing that we actually have price breaking the weekly 21. So I think that was a bit of a trigger from something that we saw today of why the markets jumped up today. We had a lot of things popping off too, and you could see it just kind of finally broke that level. So I think that's part of it. And then the other part of it is that if we look at, there was some economic data that came out about GDP, and third quarter GDP's second estimate is 5.2% versus 4.9%. So GDP is going up and is higher than expectations, and so the market popped off on that. Unfortunately, this morning it does seem like we've got a little bit of a pop and flop going on. I've been expecting basically a pullback at some point. And so I was kind of surprised to see that the market was happy to just bounce off of the hourly 50. But there were a lot of names confirming and going with this. So I was like, okay, I guess, we want to go with that. But I still think that this thing is a little extended. If you look specifically at the SPY on the daily chart, we're still outside of that third ATR. And even though we got close, we're still technically off the 8 EMA. So I think that we're still up there. So I would not be surprised to see price dip below the hourly 50. Now, having the S&P dip below the hourly 50, I don't think that's going to be too bad of a thing, because if we look at Tesla, and this is a fairly good example, you can see how Tesla dipped below its hourly 50, but notice how it did it. Did it basically going sideways. So I'm wondering if the S&P is going to do something like that. There could be kind of a pullback like that and a pullback like that, but really it's still just going sideways. So kind of keep that in mind. And if you go back to the SPY, just to show you what that looks like, it's still pretty high up there. So I could even say anywhere in that range would still be a sideways move. So even if it pulls back like that or drops, that could still be considered sideways. We'll have to see if that happens, where it goes. But yeah, this is pretty darn extended, pretty far up there. And yes, we do need to get a pullback. Yeah, so there you go. Even looking at this, if we just did something like that, a pullback to at least the top of this gap, which would be right here, would pretty much by that time be to where the daily 21 is. And I think that would be very reasonable as far as a place for price to go. So that being said, all right, then brighter side, you said you saw that momentum drain on the hourly. Yeah, let me kind of get down to a lower time frame here. Oh, let's see, there it is. right here. Yeah, a bit of a pop and flop. So we had price pop up there, and then we're just coming back down now here. Now, the market can be kind of tricky sometimes. You come up, you make new highs, and then they take that as a selling signal. So I'm trying to see if that's going to be what's happening here. But again, I'm wondering if we're really just going to end up chopping sideways. So we could get some pullbacks and then still move up. Some other names like that, let me just off the top of my head, Ion Q was a pretty good, similar like that, to where we got something pulling back, and all it needed to do was kind of come down and test support. And I think something like that could be reasonable for the market as well. So you can see here that it just needed to pull back over the last few days. It found some support and then popped up. So that's why I'm saying that with the market, with the S&P, that even if it does come down a little bit, I think ultimately we should be. I think it's searching for some support, trying to figure out where that is. On Ion Q, you can see at least the daily 8 stayed over the 21, and technically this was a trampoline move. So price below the 50, the Moxie indicator above 0, that is a trampoline move. And it's as long as today stays up basically where it is, it should be confirmed with price over the 50 and the Moxie indicator green. Those can still move, of course. So we'll see if that actually holds for the day. All right, and then let's see, looking at brighter side, you're looking at gold also. I don't trade this too often, but yeah, and remember last week I was on the mic in the options room, and I said as long as price can stay above the hourly 50, then it's looking okay. And right there, we got the test of the hourly 50, and up it goes. So yeah, that worked out nicely, and you could see how price pulled back to that hourly 50 the same way that price pulled back to that daily 50. It's basically the same concept, and worked out nicely. So let's look at the higher time frame charts, and yeah, it looks like we are almost going to be breaking out. We're right there at the previous high. It does seem like it's got some pretty good energy and good momentum coming back here. Right here on the weekly chart, also pulled back to support. So yeah, it's looking good. And yeah, what is this? 3 years? Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, about 3 years that it's been going sideways. Might be breaking out. All right. Yeah, you're still looking at the IWM upside down, huh? Well, let me put it this way, and we can take a look at it upside down too. If you're saying you're looking at this upside down, you think, yeah, you got your bear bias, then right about here, somewhere in that area, should be the most ideal short location. And that's because that is the arch of the foot. So if this is a short, here's your bounce to then short, right? If that's how that's going to happen. We don't know yet, but that is something to look for. What I would like to see is if this is going to be bullish, get kind of a little bit of a pullback and then move up. So this is what makes a market. The two of us, along with all the other millions of people who are trading the stock market, are going to have to watch this. And so you and I can be correct just at different times. So if you think that the market's going to go down, I would agree with you that I think it needs to do a pullback. And then really that's the question of who's going to end up being correct after that. Is I'm kind of leaning towards the upside and you're leaning towards the downside, but we won't know until the resolution of that pullback. And I think that is the simplest thing of what to be looking for. What that'll look like on, let me kind of zoom in here on the daily chart. Yeah, we do have a potential 50, 250 maneuver on the daily time frame. So if this does kind of come down a little bit, that's going to be our point of understanding. So for me, if this pulls back, holds, and then moves up, then my hope, my thesis would be correct. I would like to see the market move up. If your bear thesis is correct, then what it's going to do is pull back like that, and then it's going to keep going down. So, well, right about there is where we're going to determine who is right or wrong based on what the market does. And we'll just have to keep watching to see what that looks like. All right. And then, but that aside, so I would say brighter side that if the IWM is going to fall apart and make new lows, then the NASDAQ is not going to, hold up. It's going to pull back and then continue to fall. So I do think where you're looking at the daily 21, yep, or the daily 50. Yeah, the daily 50 at some point, I always say at some point, but it's going to take some work to do that because that's pretty far away, especially especially after the month-long bullish move that we had up here that was just pretty wild. And we all know that the first stop is going to be the 21. Kind of like if you look at this one back here, you can see that yes, price eventually came back down to the daily 50, but what did it do first? Came down to the 21. So this could be a long time, several days of kind of working off that overbought condition. And you can see for the most part, it went sideways. Maybe a dip there and dip there, but mostly sideways until it continued to move up. So I would kind of think it might end up something like that. I always say that at some point price and the daily 50 are going to meet. It's just a matter of how is it going to do it? Is it going to do it in a stronger negative way like that? Or is it going to do it in a more bullish way like that, where it's a sideways flag? And we just don't know yet. We don't know how that's going to pan out. But those are the two paths, basically. All right. And then, yeah, I've been seeing some of the cannabis stocks moving. This is always the hardest part when trying to figure out exactly when something is going to bottom, because if you look at something like Tilray and you look at it on the higher time frames. It's like, okay, good luck trying to figure out exactly when this thing is going to be bottoming. Of course, I can point out things, but you can see in the past that they haven't worked out yesterday. Exactly. So you can see here, there was a double bottom, didn't work. So where are we at? Well, we have another double bottom. Is this time going to work? Well, you can try it. And depending on, you just need to have your exits. Like, remember when we said about the IWM, if the IWM is going to roll over and go negative, right there is about the place. 21, 21, which is what I said. Yeah, for the IWM. And so we'll have to see about this with Tilray. Because it's had double bottoms before. Will it work? We'll have to see. Will it work? We'll have to see. The best way I know is to look at the lower time frames. So, for example, you could, well, if I could draw that better, there you go. But you could see it could not get past the daily 50, just kept getting rejected. So here we are again. And if it's going to work, it needs to actually go up and then get over these moving averages and demonstrate that they're no longer resistance. So, yeah. And if this can finally break through and get over, kind of just like that, I mean, those are exactly the same patterns. There and there are exactly the same patterns. And so that's what we need to be looking for. So good eyed to be looking at these things. It's really just going to be a question of if they actually go. And yes, I have actually been watching MSOS. One of the things that I've been seeing about it is I'm pretty interested in all this volume. You can see I've been making some notes on it, but yeah, lots of volume coming into this. And of course, you don't really want to go chasing something like that. That was a big move to the upside. But those of you who subscribe to the Moxie trading methodology and all that, we knew that this was not a great place to buy, and we knew that this thing was going to roll back over at some point. But now that again it has done a double bottom here, we need to see if this actually has some legs to it. And part of that, as saying that it's a possibility, is that we have the 8 over the 21 again, and we do have price starting to get over these moving averages, the Moxie indicator above zero, all these kind of things. So we are seeing progress, and even on the monthly chart, we're trying to get price to get past the monthly 10. So yeah, we've got a lot of things that are warming up. And so that's why I've been looking at something like this. In fact, I took a quick short a while ago, back when the market was pulling back, because if the market was dropping for what turned out to be 3 straight months, you look at cannabis, you're like, yeah, that's not gonna move up. That's not gonna buck the trend. And you could see pretty darn clearly right there and right there were good short entries. I mean, just absolutely perfect. You had the Moxie price trigger. You had price downtrending hourly 50. That was an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. And so that worked out nicely. And then you could see right back into previous support area. And it also hit the outside of that 30 ATR. And what did it do? Snap back and held the hourly 50 pretty nicely. So yeah, now the question is, Is this going to continue to hold, and can price actually get up and over these things and then do something constructive? So yeah, I got my eyes on them. And that's MSOS. If we then look at Cron, again, I always like to take a look at the higher time frames. Yeah, I mean, it's like they seem to be done going down. Although I thought that a lot of things were done going down back here, but now here we are again. I guess the difference this time is that we have a Moxie price trigger. I'm gonna put only a little bit of weight in that. Like, yes, the Moxie indicator is firing, but we need to have other things as far as price and structure really actually kind of get into this stuff. And yes, we are seeing some divergence. So maybe this is the time, but we need to actually see this stuff work. Again, we're seeing progress. We're seeing some stuff shape up, but I'd like to see a little bit more conviction. I'm not sure if I would like to be one of the first people in on something like this, but if you guys think that this is the time and things are working up, and it's possible, again, here's your double bottom, then if you want to be one of the pioneers, you could be getting in at the absolute lowest for what this could be. So yeah, it's making progress. I mean, look at that. You see there's another typical Moxie setup. And as long as this can hold and start to move up, then yeah, then we've got something to work with. It says Cron, CGC, what was it? What's another one? ACB. It's been forever since I really looked at these because, well, they've been dead for so long. So are these things finally going to come back? It's a question. It's definitely a question. Loco no Joko, good to see you, man. Yeah, good to see some of the crew coming back around. All right. While I have your guys' attention on here on Facebook and YouTube, I was trying to figure out some other things to do. Anybody would be interested in if I were to contribute to the Simpler Trading newsletter? They were wondering if I wanted to write a market outlook twice a week. So I'd be interested to see if you guys had any kind of feedback on that, if that would be good. Any other things that I could do as far as kind of contribution out there. I was thinking about kind of having maybe once or twice a week. I might just kind of open up the mic in the Moxie room and just leaving it open. And if anybody has kind of questions, I can kind of just answer. It'd be kind of nice casual thing. I guess they call it a ask me anything. You could do that. Uh, not one of these things where I'm just on the mic talking the whole time and just kind of at you, but just kind of being there. And if anybody has a question, they kind of come up and ask, and we can kind of dive into something. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think about ways to give back and give out there and give value to you guys. So let me know. And if you guys have any ideas, email me, tg@simplertrading.com. All right, and then Cindy, yeah, we were talking the other day. So what is my price target on Mara for the rest of the year? Oh, that's a loaded question, isn't it? Let's see. Well, I don't know about the end of the year. So obviously we have a month, a month. And so what you're asking is, where is this thing going to be in one monthly candle bar? That's always a tough question. What I would say is, I think that that's before the move is over, I would imagine we're probably going to go up to the third ATR on the weekly chart, which means double top. So I think that if these things are going to go, if market's going to go, I think that should be a reasonable target. A lot of times when you get up to a double top, there's some natural selling because everyone who owns it from up here is like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, I'm getting my money back. And then there's just going to be some natural selling. But if this is stronger, like if this is actually going to be a strong stock, what'll happen is and now I'm just skewing it over here because I'm out of room, but it'll come up like this, hit the resistance, and either flag or pull back slightly, and then get more energy and push through. So that's what I'd be seeing. I think Apple was kind of an example. Yeah, actually a couple things. Yeah. So if you look here, this one decided to push through. Okay, so it made new highs, but then you'll notice it did pull back. And I think it's on its way to making new highs eventually. This is why I think that I'm pretty confident, pretty bullish with the market overall, because I really, really, really like what's been happening here with a lot of things. The fact that Apple did pull back and pulled back here on these higher time frames. I think this is looking pretty good. Now we just kind of need to fix this current overbought situation and just kind of chill out, find some support, and continue to move up. But I think generally speaking, this bodes well because you can even see, dare I say that this is a cup with a handle. I think the NASDAQ kind of shows it better. Yeah, look, I mean, look how clean that NASDAQ cup with handle is, this thing. And we talked about this a while ago. And not only is it a cup with handle, it's a cup with a declining handle, which according to William O'Neill in the, How to Trade Stocks, a cup with declining handle is the best. It is the strongest. So yeah, that's what we got going on there. And now we're coming out of it. So that doesn't mean like just, go buy everything right here, right now. We do need to find the right spots. And if we look here, gosh, I really would love a pullback at some point, even a little bit more of a flag, as I said, maybe just something like this, because we're kind of up there. So we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, I do think that the market is pretty darn strong and looking good. So as far as Mara, again, I don't know where it's going to be by the end of the year, but I have a feeling that if these Bitcoin things are really going to get going, which it looks pretty good, Coin has been doing well, CLSK, CleanSpark has been doing well, Riot has been on the move, and then the rest of the cryptos aren't really doing well. I guess IRN, I keep forgetting about this one, which is unfortunate because that was a heck of a move. What'd that thing do after earnings? That's been 57%. Yeah, that was a nice one. So something like this, you really just hope that there's a pullback because this would not be the greatest place to buy it. Some sort of pullback, some sort of chill out, something to give a little opportunity. But IREN would be a good one to look at. Yeah. So, yep, Bitcoin's doing well. Just need to find those opportunities. So, Cindy, yeah, I would say just keep hanging on to Mara and see if that's going to be working out. I'm sure there will be hopefully pullbacks along the way, and then you can either add to it or initiate if we need to. But look, funny enough, right here, it's sitting right there at that third ATR. And if we come over and look here, let's go look at the previous one, and here, because you can see even the last time that hit that third ATR right here, which was right here, you can see how it got a little overbought, and there was your pullback, right? Real nice pullback right there. And that's why I'm saying, hey, let's see, can it do it? Because here it is, and it's getting a little far away from the hourly 50. And on the daily chart, it's a little far away from the 8 EMA and at the third ATR as well. So I'm wondering if these can kind of settle down and give us another opportunity, or if they're just going to prove us all wrong and just keep blowing up like that. So I wouldn't sell them, just look for opportunities. Looking at Joker, yeah, coin. What is well, just like Irene, these things have just been moving. I mean, just moving. So same thing. It's a little tough to want to get in on something like this. What would be better, just like I was showing you on Mara, is if you could just get a little bit of a sideways action right there. You see, it kind of came into the hourly 50 there, and you can see here third ATR kind of just pulled in just a little bit before going. So if you just get something like that, I think that would be the more reasonable spot, unless you think Mara is just going to keep going, at which point maybe you're at this point and it's just going to keep going. So it's either one of those two things. It's either just going to keep going or it's going to give you an opportunity, and you just have to decide which one it's going to do. B1, yeah, thanks. Okay, so market feedback newsletter. Yeah, okay. Look at Ojoka, I do know Peter Resnicek. Yeah, I used to watch him all the time. Shadow Trader and all that. And then he moved to the West Coast. I guess he wanted to get out of that Philadelphia weather, right? Yeah, Loco no Joko, I do, I got the Moxie room. So yeah, I do have my own room. And then, yeah, we got Twitter. And then, I do post my video, my twice a week video newsletter thing on YouTube and on the Moxie webpage. So yeah, we're out there. But if you want to email me, we can talk again. Give me some ideas. See what I can do to help give back and contribute to you guys. But yeah, Peter's great. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up there. Remember that we are still running our Black Friday sale. It's BFS 23. You got call it 1.5 more days until it does. It's going to run until December 1st. So I guess we're doing quite well as far as that. And yeah, if you guys are interested, go check it out. And then for the rest of you over on Facebook and YouTube, I'll see you next week. And those of you in the Moxie room, I'm going to be back in the options room and Moxie in just a little bit. So we'll see you guys then. Take care.